I will be all I set out to be, without a doubt. And ultimately, it is your decision. You have to do it for you, so you could come back and show yourself a brand new you. And I think the main reason why most people are unable to create their desired reality, and whatever that is, it could be riches, it could be maybe creating an identity that most resonate with who you set out to be, or who you've been called to be. It's because of ego. You see, ego, it's its own self. It's the fundamental reason most people do not allow themselves to change. Because, ego blind people to the areas of themselves or parts of themselves that seeks out change. Or at least certain part of themselves that need or requires change. When I say that the reason most people do not or are unable to create or receive that which they desire is because, most people try to pour new wine into old wineskin, because they are trying to create a new life or get a different outcome while remaining their old self. Do not pour new wine into old wineskin. And I think that's the principle that most people fail to understand. Because first of all, we all have to realize something, right? This is very important, so pay attention to what I'm about to say. Everything we see in the physical realm is as a result of the spiritual realm. So in a way, you could say that the physical realm is a mirror or a reflection of the spiritual realm. And I think this is one thing, this is very crucial for you to understand. See, before this, even the outfit that you have on, right? Before those things manifested in the physical realm, they manifested in the spiritual realm. They started as an idea, whatever you want to call it. And then they were able to bring that stuff to come into fruition. And I say that to say, just as everything in the physical realm is a manifestation of or a reflection of that which exists in the spiritual realm, the physical equivalent of being spiritually born again is shedding of old self. It's becoming a new version of yourself. That means change. And so shedding or putting away of old thought patterns, old way of doing things. Because to achieve your desired reality, while remaining the old you, will require you to betray your soul. You will do things that darken your soul and goes against your humanity. You will operate, you will do things on a competitive method. You will manipulate. And you will find yourself justifying your actions and your deed by claiming that the end justifies the means. And this is the mindset of people who seek to create their desired reality while ignoring the very fundamental part of allowing themselves to change or seeing the need that they are supposed to change. These are people who climb the ladder of success and push down the ladder. So you can really create your desired reality. You can get whatever you want if you're just willing to betray your soul. And in a way, that's what it means to sell your soul, to betray who you are, to get riches through darkness. But for those who don't want to sell their soul, your approach would be a creative method instead of the competitive method. You see, the creative method is all about creating new value, right? Creation. Instead of, you see, the creative method is all about creating new values, creation, instead of fighting for existing resources. Then you're able to impress your desire onto the world, through purpose and faith, accompanied with specific, efficient actions, gratitude, clear visualization, acting in certain ways to align you with the abundance of the world. You see, a person who believes in abundance is in no competition. Think about it. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you. But that's not all he said. He also said, seek first the kingdom, right? Seek first the kingdom of God and all other things will be added unto you. What does that mean? Everything else that you seek, you get it only when you seek that which is inside of you. But this means you have to become acquainted with yourself. And once you become truly acquainted with yourself, then you will realize that you are a product of your upbringing. And that's why you must change. Because the things that are supposed to come to you, your desired reality, all of those things are waiting for a specific version. And until you become that specific version, they will not find you. If they come to the wrong version will end up ruining or self-destructing or destroying the lives of people around them. It's like there's a story of this guy called Joseph. And Joseph had 12, I think at that time he had 11 brothers, or 10. That was before the last one, Benjamin, was born. So at that time he had 10 brothers, I believe. And you see, but Joseph was the youngest and he was the favorite. And when all the brothers would go to work, right, the father would send Joseph to go watch, go check up on your brothers, see how those boys them doing, see if they're doing anything crazy. Joseph would go, boom, go to the field. And it says every time Joseph would go back home and tell his father any mischievous activity the brothers were doing. And mind you, Joseph had a dream that he would become a king. In a way, that was his destiny. We know that because we know how it ended. We know he finally became a king, right, in Egypt. Eventually, his brothers, they gang up on him and they, caught him and they sold him. They traded him to a different country. Joseph now found himself in a different land, upset and sad. Oh goodness, my brothers, they really sold me. They sold me into slavery. Anyway, this was where he was. Now, fast forward later on, eventually he became a king. And this is why I believe in divine timing. For people who, through faith, think and move purposefully. Now, let's go back to his life before his brothers sold him to slavery, before he became a king. When you look at a person who look at his brothers and always reporting them, that's a person who doesn't really care about the consequences or what people will go through, the pain that people go through. All he cares about is, oh, I'm going to tell my dad because I'm the favorite. So he doesn't really care about the trouble that he would be getting his brothers into. You might be one of those people that say, well, they did it, so no issue. But that's exactly why he wouldn't have made a good king. To whom much is given, much is required. Think about certain people in maybe work spaces, right? Who, whenever they see their colleague, maybe spend 5 or 10 extra minutes on lunch break, or they see you doing something, they go report. And think about those type of people. One thing you realize is they're not doing it because they care for you. They're only doing it so they get ahead. And that's what I'm saying. It's the competitive mindset. Joseph, he was shining light on things that are negative or negative actions of his brothers in order for him to show up as better than them, to get more favor from his father. Even perhaps he probably didn't even need to do anything because he was already favored by his father. But that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. It's the mindset of competitive method. If you must say something, right, then go to them and address it. But the truth is there are specific times you just have to mind your business, especially when you see that nobody is hurting nobody, right? There are specific times you have to, there are just times that you have to know when to just keep quiet. And so when you look at somebody like Joseph, who was destined to become a king, you realize that no, like he was spoiled. You can see eventually when he became king and he saw his brothers after all these years, you notice how he treated his brother. And that's where, that's where I realized that, that's not the same Joseph. That's not the same Joseph that they sold. I mean, think about the same person who would always point his finger and call people out for doing something. And now he saw the people that sold him and he said, I needed to go through that because you guys meant it for evil. You guys thought you were trying to harm me. But God actually meant that stuff for good. I was supposed to go through that stuff. And so that's why I say, you need to change. There is a new version that you're supposed to be in order to get your desired reality. Now, you can get that desired reality while remaining the old you can, but you have to understand it will come as a result of your soul. It will cost you your soul. And so most times it's like you're not getting what you're supposed to get, not because it hasn't been written for you. It's really the Creator's way of watching over you. And this is what we have seen. We've seen this happen with so many people. It's like, man, you have everything. If I had, and that's what we say, right? We say, man, if I have access to all of this stuff, I wouldn't do what this person did. Like, man, just all you had to do is this, but they got everything while still remaining their old version. So in this video, I want to talk about 3 things that you must know and do in order for you to be rich, in order for you to create your desired reality. Today I was thinking to myself about how I've been able to create my desired reality. And I was thinking about the ways that I was able to align and see those things manifest in my life. I was also making mental note of specific things, specific reality that I would want to create and what I must do to create that reality. And as I was thinking about these things, I thought about my mother. Kind of like, what is something that my mother taught me about how I can create wealth? Specifically, what is something that she taught me about how to make wealth, how to create riches? And then I just called her. Now, my mother never created any wealth, at least, or riches for herself. So I figured that's why she never really talked to me about it. It's something that she had no knowledge about. I called her, I got on the phone with my mother, and I asked her, Mom, what is something that you can teach me in order to help me create wealth, to help me get richer? And she said to me, well, son, and mind you, my mother has been retired now. She's around 50 something years old. And she's been retired for maybe I think 4 to 5 years. And at that time, it was one of my greatest accomplishments, being able to give her that gift. But now, not so much. And it's not really because I regret it. I don't care if she goes back to work. See, what I care about the most is that her mindset changes. Because I know that if she can become a higher version of herself, then she will never stop seeking out change and growth. And she told me, well, son, you are young, and well, I would say for you to, you're already doing something now. But for me, if I want to create wealth, now this is her speaking. Well, for me, if I want to create wealth, for me to be rich, I just find something that I love doing. I love cooking. I would just open a restaurant and start cooking. And she mentioned things like you can do Forex, or you can find something like basically, find something and work on something with your hands. And I said, oh, okay, Mom. Oh, thank you. And I think in a way she heard it in my voice, and she could sense that something is up. And I think for me, what was up for me was, then I realized the way that my mom thinks, you see. And that's the thing that I feel like we all have to come to a place where we realize that, look, you are nothing other than the product of your background. You are a product of the world that raised you. A lion cannot give birth to a goat. Your starting line is the ceiling of those who raised you. Your starting line is the ceiling of your background. You see, but the beautiful thing about human is the only species that can choose to reinvent itself. No, you're not condemned to the nature in which you are born. You are not condemned to remain in the image in which those who brought you up fashioned you in. You can decide to create a new image for yourself. If I can do it, you can do it. You think the way you think. Your anxieties, your fear, and your awareness of lack is as a result of the world that raised you. Did I say anything wrong? I'm sorry if I said anything wrong. Oh, God bless her soul. And I said, no, Mom, you did not say anything wrong. And she said, well, tell me, what do you think? Tell me. I'm not too old to learn. What do you think about what I said? I said, well, Mom, now listen to what I'm about to say. Many people think that for them to create their desired reality, and these are people who move with intentionality. And I'm not talking about those who do not move with intentionality. Those people are just shooting in the dark. There is no structured or controlled channel through which they put out their energy. So I'm talking about people who at least kind of give a specific thought or have a specific level of depth and are particular about the life that they want to create. People who have a hunger, people who know that there is more. Or most what they do is they think that I grew up, then I go to school, then I do this, then I work on this. But they ignore the foundation, the three important foundations. The first concept, God is the one who gives power to make wealth. You have to understand that your ability to make wealth is a gift, and wealth is a gift. Everything that you have has been given to you, including your looks. This knowledge keeps you humble, it keeps you generous, but it also brings you into the awareness of abundance, knowing that everything that you desire and everything that you seek has already been given to you. They are all a gift. That's the first thing you need to know. God is the one that gives you power to make wealth. The second thing that you need to know is, I think I mentioned this earlier already, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. You have to change, and these are the places you have to invest in yourself mentally, intellectually, spiritually, and your body. How do you take care of your body? You see, how you take care of your body shows gratitude. You see, your mind, the way you think, your outlook on life. You have to expand your knowledge of the world and of the working of this world. Build your mind. When I was a child, I acted like a child. Now, there has to come a point where you cannot get a new life while still being an old version of you. It doesn't work like that. That is breaking principle, breaking the God principle. And this is why when you hear certain people and they talk about how they got to where they are, and you hear all of them, you hear them say things like, man, there was a period where I wasn't going to the party, I wasn't doing all of these things. 95% of the people I observed, they all said the same thing. There was a time in their life where it was just them. There was a time in their life where, in a way, they did things that you might consider to be extreme. So that's the time that they became reborn. That's the time when there was a shift that happened in their life. That's the time that version that their desired reality was looking for was born. Change is the only constant thing in life. When you allow yourself to change and then you get your desired reality, then you are a new you. And so even in that aspect, you're not meant or expected to stay the same. You also have to keep changing and growing as you experience new things, as you see new things, change and grow, and always keep your soul pure. The kingdom of God is inside of you, and we believe that God is that which is eternal. There is no end and there is no beginning. Why would you settle? And that's because you don't realize that if you're supposed to be eternal, the moment that you stop or you come to a place where you say, oh, okay, I think I've seen it, or I think that's the moment that that which is eternal begins to die. Because eternal is forever experiencing, forever exploring, forever expanding, forever aware. And you can't be aware and stagnant at the same time. For awareness in itself or by itself is exploration and discovery, endless discovery. And now the third and final foundation you need to understand is this. There's a principle that says there is one who scatters and retains more, and there is one who holds and has nothing. See, this is the principle of giving. When you give, you're living from a place of abundance. And you do not give because you're rich. You give because it is a lifestyle. Most rich people give a lot. Now, you might have an issue with the cause that they give to. That's a law placed by God. That's the law that governs this universe. Whatever measure you use to measure for other people, eventually it's going to come back to you. And you might not like what foundation or cause the rich gives to. Let God be judge. What I need you to understand and not miss is the principle of giving. See, the more that you give, the more you will receive. And as I was telling my mom this, but she told me about this woman and she was asked, how do you make your money? How are you so successful? And the woman said, you see, what I do with my business is whenever my business starts going bad, whenever my business is not, I feel like, man, I'm hitting a slump and things are not looking well. What I do is I get things together and I give to people who do not have anything. I go to the orphanage, to those who are homeless, and I just give them things. I just help them. That was the secret. That was her secret. Because everything is habit, right? So once you start giving, it's my heart at first, but you will notice something. And if you're watching it, you notice this. You notice that whenever you help people, right? Think about it. Whenever you help people, whenever you do something good for somebody, you feel joy. I know everybody that watch this can relate. Everybody hearing this I will agree with this. You feel the most satisfaction, you feel the most fulfilled when you do something for a person. And in a way, I feel like that's that God likeness inside every one of us. And what is that? That's God likeness is He is the one who has given us everything to enjoy. And so when we give to other people, when we help other people, you feel the most satisfaction, you feel the most fulfilled. And if we can feel this way, then the divine also feel exactly the same way, giving us things and seeing us happy. So give. When you give, it will be given back to you. You see, but if you're somebody operating and have the spirit of competitiveness, that means you're fighting for resources. Whatever you use to measure will be given back to you. So if you're giving from a place of, I'm giving just so I can take from that person, whatever it is that you want to take from that person, that becomes your reward. You're getting something as a result of your manipulation. The hand of the divine is not the one giving you that stuff. That's what I'm saying. You're getting what you're getting through manipulation. And, eventually the same thing will come your way as well. Now, allow me to tell you something that has really helped me. You cannot hold on to the mental image that's supposed to make you rich by filling your mind with pictures of poverty. See, you have to get poverty behind you. Do not think about it. Do not study it. Do not concern yourself with it. The only thing that you should concern yourself with is cure. You don't get rid of poverty. You do not change a poor mindset by putting pictures of poverty into that mind. But getting pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. See, that's how you get rid of poverty. And I need you to understand this. Apply this to your life and you will see changes. Poverty is not something that we can get rid of by increasing the number of rich people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich, who determine in their hearts to get rich. Understand this. You don't help the poor. You don't get rid of poverty by giving poor people charity. Now, I'm not against charity. I talk about how you should give, you should help. But the truth is, the poor do not need charity. Okay, what they need is inspiration. The inspiration is the only thing that can lift people out of their misery. See, what charity does is send poor people a loaf of bread to make them, be alive in their misery, to make them be alive in their struggle. Charity provide entertainment or seek to provide entertainment for people, so that they can forget about their misery, forget about their misfortune, for a few hours. It's not really helping them. So when you really think about it and when you really look at it and assess it, charity tends to encourage the same situation that it says it's trying to eradicate. And that's because we prioritize charity over inspiration. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. And so if you want to help a poor person, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Bring them to a place where they truly believe that it's possible for them to become rich. And this is true. In a way, I wish that the things I know now, I knew them earlier, but I understand that everything happened in its time, divine timing. And if I can change my life, if I can see my desired goal come through, I need you to believe this. I need you to know it deep down in your core, that you can do the same. The only thing that might just be missing for you is inspiration. And I really hope that you're able to find inspiration even as you watch this. And so whenever you think or speak about those who are poor, you need to think and speak about them as those people who are becoming rich, as those people who are to be congratulated rather than pitied. Because whenever you do this, they and others will catch inspiration and begin to search for a way out. It's the same way of make them believe that that's who they are. And what I mean by that is, look, if you treat somebody as a king, right, and you give them respect, see, eventually that person will begin to act as a king. It's the same thing that happened to us in our households, right? Sometimes, or most people who are grown, they understand this, right? When you were young or growing up in a household, and maybe your household might be a little bit dysfunctional, where whenever you share an idea, it gets shut down. And what happened? Eventually, you notice that you stop sharing your ideas. In a way, you start losing confidence in yourself. But in the same way, when a person shares an idea, and the idea might be the most crazy idea in the world, but the people who are listening, once the people who are listening say, oh, that's a good idea, it flips a switch inside of that person that makes that person to be able to share the next idea without hesitation, as opposed to them shutting it down or saying, oh man, and this stuff still happens to grown folks, right? When you make, sometimes you make a joke and people don't laugh, right? And now you become self-conscious of yourself. That's the thing. So when you treat people as something, treat people with respect. Instead of highlighting the negativity in people's life, highlight the things about them that you love, that you admire. So instead of focusing on the fact that maybe somebody is always late, you can choose to highlight the aspect of them always being there. Always being present. Thank you. I really appreciate you being present, even though you're late. I know sometimes we still have to throw it in there. At least you're building and showing gratitude, and you're not allowing the part or aspect that you do not like to take the whole spotlight. And that's why right now when I speak to you, I'll say, what's up, my fellow millionaires? I'm speaking this, and I really believe it. Look, if you're watching this, I need you to believe. Congratulations. Congratulations to you. How do you feel knowing that everything that you desire, all your dreams, all your goals, everything is coming into alignment? How does that make you feel? Are you able to imagine it? Are you able to get a clear mental image of the life of that thing that you wish to be doing? Are you able to create that mental image? See yourself in that house. See yourself helping those people. See yourself doing these things. And when it's difficult for you to see, look, see yourself again. Come back to this video as much as you need to. Do not make room for doubt. Whenever doubts start creeping in, get rid of the doubt. Always believe. Never make room for doubt or unbelief. Because the moment that you make room for doubt and unbelief, these are the same thing that will start pushing the substance. The very substance of the things that are coming your way. See, doubt and unbelief is what pushes these things away from you. The promises will only come upon those who believe. Let it be done to you according to your belief. In another place he said, if you believe, you will see the glory of God. And I think this is where I will end it. And now I want to thank you for the support. I see that we have new people on this channel, and I want to say welcome, welcome. Thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate you. Keep doing the best with what you have, and happy holidays.